Hi, and welcome to Roxanne People's E3 Special Limited Extravaganza edition of Gaming News. I've been putting up short, horribly done videos throughout the week, so if you want to watch those instead, go for it here. This video is going to be talking about everything at E3, so unlike your boyfriend, it's going to be very, very long. That's right, no sexism here. On my show, everyone's significant other has a small penis. Wait. In case you're new, let me just tell you before we start this half-hour long video that I don't shy from penis jokes or the F-bomb. I keep it classy. This E3 was the year of the choice. Almost every game was advertising that. Choose how you play. Multiple options on how to complete missions. No two campaigns would be the same. No matter how true these statements were, that was the heaviest theme. Second heaviest? Bows. Bows and hoes. Arrows. Bows and arrows. E3 started strong, but like with your crazy stalker ex-girlfriend, the best part was the beginning. Opening with Microsoft's press conference, Halo 4 barreled through and for most kept its frontrunner status. Before this, very little was known about the mysterious new enemies of Halo 4, or storyline at all. The trailer that they showed starts with the UNSC Infinity floating through space and like a narrative talking about how it's been 4 years since the war that was going on during the Halos 1 through 3. And about how the UNSC Infinity was originally built for war, but now it's built for peace, and it's like, oh, how nice. Until they get fucking attacked and are left helpless while they crash land on a strange planet they've never been to. They have one piece of good luck with them, though. Master Chief's already there. He's quick to start going to the crash site, but then immediately is like attacked by Covenant, and he shoots at them for like half a second before they get disintegrated by something else that comes up. And Cortana's like, oh, well, this isn't Covenant, and it's not even organic, actually, so I don't understand. The thing, like, walks up to Master Chief and lifts its mask, and it looks like a neon sign version of Ghost Rider, and then it's all like, bleh, and the Master Chief's all like, pew pew, fuck you, and then they both just hop back and start fighting each other. But then the thing just, like, starts spawning off these other smaller aliens, and it's just like, wow, you're an asshole, what are you doing? And then he teleports away, and the little things that he spawned disappear. Master Chief goes to chase him, still heading towards the ship, and he basically loses him. And so he shows off this new feature where you get like a whole like thermal type radar that goes full screen over your visor, and you could see like all your enemies that are around you. And there's kind of a lot surrounding Master Chief, and he like gets punched in the face or something by one. And at that point, it cuts to Cortana talking about how like AIs are only supposed to live 7 years, and she's 8 already. And then she goes all menopause and like starts screaming, "You're not leaving this planet!" So she's either dying or going insane, or both. Probably both. Through different interviews and stuff, we learned like a lot about Spartan Ops, which is just coming together as a great idea. These are supposed to be like episodic missions that we're gonna get every single week for a whole like season, they said. And it's supposed to start off with like 5 minutes of just cutscene, and then followed by just a lot of gameplay, which is awesome. And it's being compared to being like a TV series you can play through, which is just really cool. The best part about this, they're all free. Yeah, every single mission's gonna be free. Like the free you don't have to pay for at all. It's just completely free, part of the game when you buy it. That's really awesome. What I think they're trying to do here is create a fan base for these episodes, so then that way, like after this season ends, then they can start a new season, but then of course the new season is going to cost like $40. Either way, I think that this is like a really, really good idea for both game makers and gamers, just for a bunch of different reasons that I don't really want to go into right now. But I think it's a really, really great idea. Hopefully other game makers agree that it's a good idea. Halo 4 is supposed to be coming out on November 4th of this year. After Halo 4, the spotlight went to Splinter Cell Blacklist, and it didn't disappoint. The storyline here is that Sam Fisher has been employed by the president to go take out like some terrorist leaders who are near the Iran-Iraq border and have given the US an ultimatum of get the fuck out or we're bringing the fight to you. I know, what a weird premise. Who would have guessed that our greatest enemies are in countries that most Americans know little or nothing about? Crazy. Anyways, the thing that stuck out to me most was the fact that you can pre-select enemies that you want. So while you're in cover, you pick out whatever guys you want to kill. I think there's like a limit of 3 just based off the video that I saw. And then when you pop out of cover, you just automatically kill them, or at least your crosshairs automatically go over them. Again, you couldn't really tell through the video, but obviously one of those two things is happening because it was instant. I mean, getting out of cover and going straight to the first target that he had marked. Two new things, a bow, which I told you was a thing, and radar. He got like a new radar so that way you can see through things. So again, while you're in cover, you can use your radar and you can see where people are at. And this again helps you with pre-selecting how you're going to enter a building or an area and take out all the guys there. And if you have Kinect, you can do a couple things with this too. The first example they gave, Sam Fisher was like hanging off a building and there's a guy patrolling. So the guy playing said, "Hey you," and the guy patrolling was like, "What the fuck? When did Jeff learn English?" So he came over and walked over, and then Sam Fisher just like fucking stabbed him and chucked him over the building. And then later in the same section, Sam Fisher's friend who was in the UAV was all like, "Oh, mark the hotspot and then let me know when you're ready." So the guy playing was marked the hotspot and then he said, "Now." And then the truck just got like a missile sandwich topped with explosions and death, and it was great. You too can harness the power of the voice next spring. Awesome transitional sentence! Dawnguard, the Skyrim DLC, got a lot of information at E3, even though it wasn't actually showcased during one of the press conferences. Like Skyrim needs a press conference. The biggest update is being a vampire, the best part of which is that you don't sparkle. If you choose to become a vampire and fight with the vampires to go all Powerpuff Girls Boogie Nights and block out the sun, you'll get a new skill tree, especially for vampirism. Don't worry if you want to fight alongside Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup to try and keep Skyrim sunny on the days that aren't completely overcast, because you'll get a werewolf skill tree, if you're a werewolf obviously. And with this you'll be able to hone your werewolf abilities as you want. You don't have to be a werewolf or vampire to play this DLC though. At the top of the vampire skill tree is an instant paralysis spell called Supernatural Reflexes, and there's an ability that puts a cloud of bats around you that attack nearby enemies. This is called Night Cloak. Pretty friggin' awesome. You also get other vampire magic and some bitchin' wings that'll let you hover over the ground, and sharp claws to like hack at people with. Naturally, you have to avoid moving during the day and you're gonna look like Larry King, but maybe that's your thing. Along with vampires, the shaded out area north of Northwatch, which I know I've had my eye on, is going to be opened up and there's going to be a portal to Oblivion there, making for some serious roaming space. The beta will be out next week and the full DLC is going to cost a hefty $20 but promises to be more than worth it on June 26 for Xbox 360 and sometime in July for PS3 and PC users. Gears of War Judgment got revealed at E3. The game takes place 15 years before the events of the Gears of War franchise and focuses on Baird and Kilo Squad being on trial for a bunch of treasonous things, but, you know, they're probably for a good reason. We'll be playing as Baird through the explanations for his actions. The game is going to be set in Halvo Bay, which is supposed to be like the San Francisco of Gears of War. Judgment's multiplayer is going to be class-based and set up like Team Fortress 2 according to the makers. For humans, we'll have Baird as the engineer, Cole as a soldier, Sophia Hendricks as a medic, yes, female medic, and Garen Paduk as a scout. And for the Locusts, we're going to get Wretches, Tickers, Cantus, Grenadiers, Corpsers, and Cerapedes. Other than the class setup they've got going on, the multiplayer is getting a mode that's something that a lot, or at least that I have been wanting, Beast Mode versus Horde Mode. Hopefully this turns into like the bread and butter of Judgment, because that would be awesome. There's no official release date yet, but Gears of War Judgment should be released next year. The Tomb Raider reboot looks fucking amazing. Coming from someone who's never really been a fan of Tomb Raider, I just never really got into it, I really want this game. This game looks amazing. The trailer they showed had Lara Croft, a just out of college 21-year-old, lost in the jungle, shivering and using a bow and arrow to get her first meal. Later, she's focusing on finding someone who's talking to her on her radio, obviously someone that she needs to rescue. She sneaks around some guys and takes them out with her bow, and then she finds some other guys and shoots a flaming arrow at a puddle of jet fuel pouring out of a tank and makes this great explosion. She apparently has been part of a plane crash because there's just plane debris everywhere. But the best part of the trailer was definitely when she tried to cross a river. Long story short, she fails, and is sliding down this rock, having to shoot debris to get it out of her way as she falls, and it's just getting beat to shit by nature. She falls into this, like, I guess, plane nose, and proceeds to reenact that one scene from Jurassic Park 2 where the woman is on that glass that's about to shatter, and she has to grab onto the strap. Except Laura's strap is actually a parachute, and when she grabs it, she hastily clips it around her before the glass gives way and she just starts to fall. She's frantically pulling on the parachute, and the first witch is just like, see you later, bitch, and just fucking leaves. But then the emergency one's like, I got this, time to shine. They told me I'd never be anything but a backup, but look at me now, Mom. That doesn't really ensure her safety, though, because she still has to guide herself through a fucking forest, which is just being totally uncooperative, getting in her way, so she's getting smacked around by these huge rainforest branches. Again, getting her ass kicked by nature, but is finally able to, I guess you could call it landing. It's more like falling about 50 feet, slowing herself down by getting gut punched by trees. And the trailer ends with her just like staggering to her feet, looking out to like this huge temple that's out in front of her. And this just really seals the idea of this being more of a survival action adventure than the traditional puzzle game that we know from Tomb Raider. There's a couple things that I love about this reboot. One, Lara Croft is dressed for an adventure, not an adventure-themed strip club. Second, she's an imperfect heroine. I absolutely love when a character isn't brushing off near-death experiences like nothing happened, or acting like huge tasks are no big deal. During the gameplay and cutscenes that they showed, Lara Croft is shown as vulnerable, if nothing else. She's scared as shit, she's in pain from being beat to hell, and she's hesitant to kill. But despite this, she's brave. She's powerful and pushes on and just is limping and everything, but she doesn't care. She's got to save whoever's on the other end of that radio, and God help whoever gets in her way. It may be sexist, but I'm always excited to see a strong female character who's not dressed like a slut in video games. There simply just aren't enough. I'm definitely buying this game when it comes out on March 5th next year. Microsoft announced a few arcade games during their press conference, including a game by the makers of Toy Soldiers called Ascend: New Gods, which is a bloody hack-and-slash looking game. The trailer reminded me kind of Bloodforge, that arcade game that's out right now, with like the big dude slicing people in half, except done way better. It's really bloody and violent and just has all the pillars of a manly man's game. Local Cycle is a game about a motorcycle. Not much more information to go on, but it sounds interesting. And then there's Matter, which is a branch-off game about a rogue personality core. It's not? Are you sure? Because it looked exactly like a personality It's a ball? Really? Ugh. Never mind. I guess it's a game about a ball who has to solve puzzles using matter. Yeah, deductive reasoning. Yeah, I'm making Holmes proud over here. All three of these games got the loose release date of 2013. Yay, vagueness! Trey Parker and Matt Stone showed off their South Park RPG. In case you haven't been following this game, start. Parker and Stone are actually writing it, and the trailer they showed could have been a trailer for a South Park episode. The game is going to be called South Park: The Stick of Truth, and it looks hella fun. It's an open-world RPG where, who knows what the fuck is going on. I thought based on the Game Informer article a few months ago that they were just pretending, but then during the trailer it showed Mrs. Garrison like crushed and bleeding, barely alive under like what looked like the school's debris. And Mr. Slave has been confirmed as an actual interactive NPC. So whatever the hell is going on, it's clear that the game got plenty of attention from actual writers of South Park and not just some third-party people, which pretty much ensures a great game. It'll be coming out on March 5th of next year. A sad story now, the Fable franchise has died. Fable: The Journey is still set to be released this holiday, but at E3 it just proved that it's going to be a giant pile of steaming shit. It's so cartoony, I don't even know where to begin. Like, if it hadn't been for the fact that it was the Microsoft press conference, I wouldn't have been able to tell if it was for Xbox 360 or GameCube. Like, it has the graphics of Fable 1, with the classic choice that made Fable famous almost non-existent. So, again, let us mourn the loss of this once great franchise, and let us remember it well, by completely forgetting about Fable 2 and 3 as anything more than DLC. Amen. Moving on, another big game, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, added tons of information, which wasn't really too hard to do since very little was known before. The game, set in 2025, as we already know, follows Alex Mason's son, David Mason, and there's slightly futuristic weapons, which just make the most out of small changes. Like, there's a sniper rifle that has a lot of extra power due to an electric charge, but it kind of gets balanced out by having to hold down the trigger longer than normal to shoot the gun. I think the gun is way overpowered though, just because the guy who was playing the demo, like, he was shooting through literally freeway pillars. Like, you know, those giant blocks of concrete. Yeah, just shooting through them like it was fucking sheet metal. I don't know. And if you're wondering to yourself, oh, rocks aren't people. However, did he see through these freeway pillars that you speak of? Yeah, the scope he had on the rifle has X-ray vision, which is really, really cool. Just coupled with the scope, it just is really, really overpowered, and I hope they don't put that on multiplayer. That screamed at me as soon as I saw it. I hope this is not going to be on multiplayer because it's just so overpowered. The X-ray scope is actually really cool though because again, you just look through it and you can see anyone anywhere. But again, coupled with this rifle, you could basically kill anyone anywhere, which is just ridiculous. A little bit of choice has been added to the main storyline, which they showed during the gameplay trailer, where the guy playing could choose to like either snipe or go down to the streets below and accompany his fellow soldiers. There's a lot more choice when you go into these separate levels called Strike Force levels. Here, you won't be playing as David Mason, you'll be playing as Black Ops teams. You can control any soldier you want and order the rest, allowing you to either like lead the team and rush ahead, or stay back and man the mech, or both, since you can just hop through bodies whenever you want. The interesting thing about these levels is that you can fail them. Failure is an option, and you have to deal with that failure through the campaign. Obviously, you can try again if you don't want to fail, but there's no need to succeed in these. Another cool aspect of the campaign is the fact that you'll be able to play as Alex Mason again during flashbacks to the 80s, which are supposed to give insight to the game's current situation. Zombies is getting seriously upgraded, getting its own storyline, but Treyarch wouldn't say any more than that. They did say that the mode got its own team to work on, which just sounds awesome when you consider that tons of amazing games have had very small teams working on them. Hopefully this also means that they'll be able to sell it separately as like an arcade game or something, because I know a lot of people, including myself, don't really care for Black Ops, but we love zombies, but I'm not going to pay $60 for zombies. Black Ops 2 is supposed to be coming out November 13th. Microsoft had a big announcement for the Xbox, announcing Xbox Glass. This can use any smartphone or tablet to connect with anything on the Xbox 360. The biggest feature of this that they had to show was the fact that you can start watching a movie on Xbox and then continue it on your mobile device. They said you could also use it to play games, but I'm really skeptical about how useful that will actually be. Bing also got a new update, so now you can search through genres instead of having to search for specific things. And if you have a Kinect and don't speak English, don't worry because 12 new languages have been added to Bing, including Spanish, French, and German. Now all Microsoft has to do is convince people to start using Bing search. Something actually pretty cool for sports fans is the great sports content being added in the next few months to Xbox. NBA is coming, and you can get an NBA Game Time League Pass, which I have no idea what it is, but I'm sure NBA fans do. And you can watch 2 games at once using split screen, so no more picture-in-picture with like the tiny little box. You can make one bigger than the other, but it's still like bigger than anything picture-in-picture has to give you. And of course, you can just zoom in on one game altogether and make it full screen. And if you have a Kinect, you can do all of this through your voice. NHL is also coming to Xbox with 40 games a week and a choice of either home or away commentary, which is just insane. And finally, ESPN is going to be available on Xbox through livestream 24/7. ESPN 1, 2, 3, and U will be available for this, which is just ridiculous, I think, but you sports fans must be like drooling. A little late to the party, Internet Explorer is coming to Xbox, though for what I'm not sure, seeing as how we already have YouTube, ESPN, Netflix, Crackle, and a bunch of other shit already. Not to mention they're adding Nickelodeon, Paramount, Univision, and Machinima as apps, so I don't understand what the hell we would ever use Internet Explorer on there for. One of the last things Microsoft talked about was the Nike and Kinect teaming up to create Nike Plus Training, a rigorous workout game for Kinect. It looks like a serious workout game. Like, it's definitely not going to be helpful to anyone who's overweight right now because it's just going to discourage you. But for people who are looking for like a gym experience, this is going to be perfect for you. Not sure why anyone who owns an Xbox would willingly want a gym experience, but whatever, to each his own. After Microsoft, EA had to go with the press conference thing, and they were really sports heavy, but they did announce some cool games. Just to get them out of the way, FIFA and Madden 2013 got announced, and they're going to be using Kinect. In both games, you can tell your team what to do through voice and give much more specific instructions to individual players on the fly. In Madden, the movement systems have been upgraded, so now when a player like twists his ankle or like hurts his shoulder or something, it actually affects him. Like his balance will be put off, or his like throwing will be off a little bit, and his running, and Like, he actually changes and you might actually want to switch him out for someone else. There's going to be a new online league where like 32 people can join up together and form a team, which I think is really cool. You can pick to either be a player or a coach. And I mean, it's really cool for people who want to play with their friends, not just against them. And Madden's also getting like a social game on Facebook that's supposed to be like a fantasy football, but using the Madden game. I'm not really sure. I don't really know too much about fantasy football or real football for that matter. And then in FIFA, if you have the Kinect and you yell at the ref for a bad call, you're gonna get fucking carded, which I think is hilarious. I love that. That sounds so cool. I mean, clearly, I would get pissed if I got carded for calling the ref a dick, but I still think it's fucking hilarious. And there's a new ability in the game where you can bribe the refs and they'll stop calling you out on stuff during the game and start dismissing perfectly legitimate shots made by the other team. Need for Speed Most Wanted also got announced as a reboot. The thing I liked about this game when they showed it was how your car doubles as a bulldozer. You can run through pretty much anything, and the environment is completely destructible if you try hard enough. It's an open world driving game, and you can gain speed points through multiplayer races, single player races, and having the longest pursuit, highest jumps, and just stuff like that. You use these points to become like Most Wanted, basically the top of your leaderboards. The game comes out on October 30th. SimCity Social is coming to Facebook in a few weeks and seems like it should be a little bit more interactive than like Cityville. Meanwhile, the big boys are waiting for the main game, SimCity. The new game for PC will have data visualization, meaning that you can see what roads are being used most, which buildings have how many people, and all those kinds of things. Natural disasters can still happen, like in the last game. Online, your city will not only affect the people who live there, but also other people's cities nearby, which I think is just an awesome concept, and I'm anxiously awaiting more details on that. If you can cause destruction for someone else's city, I'm totally going to lose hours of my life poisoning water systems and overloading nuclear power plants. Medal of Honor Warfighter got details, including the fact that every mission in the game is marked on a global map showing an actual event or hotspot. And the online has 12 different factions to play as, which should make matchmaking a little bit less of a headache, maybe, but you know, who knows. Through the video that they showed, it's clear that Medal of Honor is once again trying to compete with Battlefield and Call of Duty, using the great looks of Battlefield with the pacing of Call of Duty. We'll have to see how it works out when the game comes out on October 23rd. Battlefield 3 Premium got confirmed at E3, and holy shit, you get a lot of stuff for $50. 4 DLC that include 20 new maps, 20 new weapons, 10 new vehicles, and a handful of new dog tags. The first DLC, called Close Quarters, is out right now for premium members on PS3 and will be out next week for premium members on PC and Xbox, and non-premium members will get it in 3 weeks. With this DLC, you're going to get 10 new weapons and some new dog tags. The next DLC will be Armored Kill, and with this you're going to get an AC-130, 2 new light tanks, 2 mobile artillery, and the UAV is coming back from Bad Company. 4 new maps will be a part of this DLC, and they're saying that they're going to be the biggest maps they've ever made. There's going to be a new mode that comes with it too, but they don't really want to say anything about that yet. Armored Kill is supposed to be coming out in September. After that, in December, we're going to get Aftermath, and then in March we'll get Endgame, both of which have very little information right now. If you play Battlefield every day, buy the premium. Save yourself some money, save yourself some time, buy the premium. The maps will cost about $80 separately. But if you're a premium member, you get them earlier and only for $50. So it just makes sense if Battlefield 3 is your game that you buy premium. Star Wars The Old Republic got even more updates and add-ons announced. I don't understand why you people are leaving this game. Like, shit man, they're giving you everything. There's going to be a new difficulty setting called Nightmare, which, if nothing else, sounds fucking awesome. And they're giving you a new planet called Makev, and there's a teensy little cartel problem over there, so that should add a few hours to your game time. Another new place quest is a space station assault called Terror from Above, but wait, that's not all. You'll also receive the new playable race, Cathar, a new companion called the HK-51 Assault Drone, a new level cap, new combat abilities, a new war zone called Ancient Hypergate, and starting in July, up to level 15 is free to play. I'm not sure why you people are leaving, but clearly the majority of players are women, because nothing will ever please them if this doesn't. Dishonored looked even more amazing at E3. The concepts of a lot of the main characters' powers were hard to understand through written descriptions, but seeing it in action, everything has just become clear and awesome. You can take control of anyone you want, anything. When you stop taking control of them, you're wherever you've gone as them. There was an example where the guy playing took control of a fish in order to get into a bathhouse and murder someone. It was great! A really cool feature is the fact that you don't have to kill anyone during the entire game. Through third parties, you can avoid directly killing your targets. You're still responsible for their deaths, but your hands are blood-free. All the benefits of murdering someone with none of the mess. This obviously takes a lot of side questing, but whatever, I smell an achievement. Crysis 3 showed a new gameplay trailer where the main character is using a bow and arrow and trying to blow up a dam. New York is supposed to have like jungles, swamps, rivers, forests, and all kinds of stuff in it, because the game takes place 20 years after Crysis 2, and an evil corporation has started to use the biodomes as a way to control the world. Every section has multiple ways to get through them, so not everyone will have the same experience. Everyone will be getting the game in the same day next February. The last highlight of the EA press conference was, of course, Dead Space 3. It looks great, and they confirmed that it takes place partly on an ice planet called Tau Volantis. The other part will be taking place on a space station above the planet. They also said that there's going to be different campaign experiences for single player and co-op. Being alone and scared is still going to be a Dead Space thing, but being together and scared is going to become a Dead Space thing. New dialogue, new options for completing objectives, different objectives in some cases. A lot of stuff will be different between the two campaigns, which is awesome since that doubles the replayability. The co-op will be drop in, drop out, so you don't have to stop playing to have a friend join you. And can I just say that the necromorphs look insane this time? Not that they didn't look insane before, but Jesus fuck do they look ridiculous now. There was a big one during the trailer and it had like pincers on its mouth and like 8 giant claws and looked like it was going to eat Isaac, and it did. It fucking did. Dead Space 3 is set for release in February of next year. The Ubisoft press conference came next, and in my opinion was the best one. Ubisoft, though they did concentrate a lot on a bunch of Wii U games, had a lot to talk about, and even their Wii U games look really good. Not to mention, they had a fucking hilarious gamer woman hosting the whole thing. She's my hero of the week, honestly. I'll talk about Far Cry first. We've seen the original trailer for this, which was pushed onto every YouTube video for about a week, and it looked pretty damn awesome. I don't know anyone who was able to skip it the first time it came on. But at E3 they showed another trailer, and this one was weird. Like, irresponsible meth head weird. Apparently, 2 months after having your friend kidnapped, you still have not gone to the police, and instead have started a native rebellion against the guy who kidnapped your friend. Oh yeah, and you're going insane. I thought malaria was bad. I shudder to think how madness will affect you. At least malaria had pills. What are you going to take for hundreds of TV screens appearing out of nowhere? Basically, you and the guy who kidnapped your friend, Voss, are utterly fucking insane, and you have to go find and kill him. Fun. At the end of the trailer, Far Cry 3 was flickering between that and the word insanity. Again, fun. Apparently, there's tons of islands to explore in this open-world game and wild animals to unleash on your enemies, who will then attack you. Anyone who saw the gameplay trailer and didn't think, man, I want to free a tiger and then fight it myself, is clearly missing the point of tigers. There's also an in-game economy where you can sell animal skins and stuff you get while wandering through the jungle. Multiplayer has been described as more madness, but on a different island for up to 4 players. But there's not much more information for now. Far Cry 3 is going to be released on September 4th in the US and September 6th in Europe. Avengers Battle for Earth got a trailer where Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Storm are fighting Magneto. The Avengers from the movie are just arriving to come and help them. Like Wolverine, Storm, and Spider-Man can't take care of Magneto? What the hell? There's no release date for this game so far, but it should be coming out this fall. A bunch of Wii U titles got announced from Ubisoft, including Darksiders 2, Batman Arkham City, Tank Tank Tank, Mass Effect 3, Tekken Tag Tournament, which includes like a Mario-esque mushroom growth item, Ninja Gaiden 3, Aliens Colonial Marines, and Zombie U. Zombie U actually sounds really cool. The trailer for it had God Save the Queen playing and just mayhem going on with zombies attacking people, and it just looked actually bloody. Not like Nintendo Ketchup bloody, but like bloody. It was pretty cool. Watch Dogs was a big surprise game, unless you're a royal psychic, and it just looks so different from other games that we played and just really great with all the graphics. The game follows Aiden Pierce, who can hack into futuristic Chicago's operating system in order to hack into streetlights and people's phones, cards, anything electronic to learn about them. You can look at someone and see a small profile on them. You can tell who's watching you and their violence probability, which will let you be able to sneak around better. There's not much more information about the game, but it just looks really unique and just really great with all the graphics, and it should be released sometime next year. The news everyone was waiting for from Ubisoft was Assassin's Creed 3, which blew through everyone's expectations. A new cinematic trailer and 2 new gameplay trailers really showed this beast of a game off. The Templars are still the main enemy, and Connor's targets are primarily British, so he's going to be helping the Americans a lot. The tree hopping looks great, seamless and natural, and that's just really good because I know a lot of people, including myself, were skeptical of how natural it would look and were worried about how much of a setup it would look like, which would just suck. But they actually did a really great job with it. You can hardly tell that you can actually hop to these branches. And speaking of trees, oh my god, the grappling hook thing is awesome. I knew this weapon was going to be my favorite. In the trailer, it shows Connor grab someone from a tree with it and then just hop down, and so he hangs them. It was fucking awesome, and I'm going to spend way too much time luring people to trees now. Thanks a lot, Ubisoft. The bayonet seems like it's going to be a really useful weapon too. Ezio and Altair had their swords, but Connor has his bayonet. Fuck it being used as a gun. That's way too overrated. More awesome news? Ship battles. You get to drive a ship and destroy other ships in different ways. You can use normal cannonballs, stuff the cannons with random shit and tear the enemy ship to shreds, board the enemy ship and take out the captain, or take down the enemy ship's mast, causing the ship to stop, and then continue with one of the other methods of victory. A side game called Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation will be available exclusively for the PS Vita, and this actually stars a black chick. Yeah, a black lady assassin in New Orleans. Not sure how that's going to work since most black people and women couldn't even read, and France had Louisiana until 1803. Or Spain, not completely sure when Spain sold it to France. But the point is, it wasn't American territory, so not sure if she's going to be fighting in a war since even if the French owned the place, New Orleans was far from any revolutionary battles, any major ones anyway. The point is, though, that she's black and she's a she. That's awesome. Again, kind of bothers me that it's pretty much impossible for a black person or even a white woman to be able to do anything but get married and pop out a kid during that time. But whatever, let's just focus on the positives, okay? Anyways, going back to Assassin's Creed 3, it's going to be released October 30th of this year. I know I'm not the biggest fan of Sony around, but trust me when I say that the Sony press conference was boring. Oh my god, it was so boring. They open up with this really awesome looking game that stars Ellen Page, but then they said almost nothing about it. Then they talked a little bit about PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, which was good, but then they named a horse PlayStation Plus, killed it, and beat it for half an hour. Of all the things they should have been pushing, they picked PlayStation Plus? Listen, Sony, if you want to get people to participate in online, give free mics with your system. Making people pay fucking $50 to talk to people they don't want to is not the way to encourage online play. Anyways, Beyond Two Souls is a game by the makers of Heavy Rain and stars Ellen Page. It's all about this girl who all her life has felt a presence with her, and the game follows her from being a teenager to adulthood, spanning 15 years. Not much information was given, but it's clear that the presence gives her special powers, and the makers said that it's a character as much as the girl is, and can be happy and helpful or angry and jealous. Hopefully we get more information soon because this game looks really good. PlayStation All-Stars got a lot of characters named for the game, including Big Daddy from BioShock, Fat Princess, Sweet Tooth, Sly Cooper, Kratos, and the Killzone Dude. There are other characters, obviously, but they haven't been named yet. The game is almost the exact same as Super Smash Bros., which is definitely not a bad thing. I mean, don't fix something that's not broken, right? I mean, PlayStation normally doesn't follow that rule, but this time they seem to have done it. The main and maybe only difference is that there's a charge-up bar on the bottom to get specials, instead of having to hit the smash ball. There are 3 levels of special to unlock through points, but if you die you have to start over completely. It seems pretty simple to get to level 2, so the first 2 specials aren't that great. It's the third that's worth it. Sony did say that you will be able to use the Vita with this, and even play with people using the console while on your Vita, and vice versa. The game should be released this holiday season. The Last of Us is still making those of us without a PS3 jealous, and the greatest thing about this game is that your AI companion, the daughter, will actually think for herself and help you out. During one of the fighting scenes they showed when they were playing the game, she came out of nowhere and fucking stabbed the guy the player was wrestling with. It was fucking sweet. The game's not releasing until next year, but it looks worth it. Sly Cooper Thieves of Time was announced and will be about Sly Cooper having to travel back in time in order to find out what's going on with his family name. Throughout the game, you'll be able to play as his different family members using different powers to complete quests and find out what's going on. Not many details beyond that, but Sony did say it would be Vita compatible. That is, when you save it to the cloud on your PS3, you can continue it on your Vita as soon as you head out. There's no solid release date for it, but it'll be out sometime this fall. The Nintendo press conference, while lacking in the new games department, did what it needed to do: sell the Wii U as fun. They announced a wide variety of games so that buying a Wii U doesn't seem like a purchase for one member of the family only. Ubisoft really helped with this, but their entertainment games didn't do too shabby either, especially with their Just Dance 4 and Sing games using the Wii U to get people who don't really want to play to feel like they're still part of the crowd that's there, without actually having to do anything. New Super Mario Bros. U was announced as well, and it's bringing back the Baby Yoshi. The Baby Yoshi can inflate itself before you make it grow too, so you can float over places. If you play on the Wii U with someone on the Wii, you can actually place platforms for them to get through the level, or, be a jackass and just block them with the platforms. Whichever. Rayman Legends got some gameplay shown, and there's a playable character just for the Wii U. You can use this guy to solve puzzles and see things that you can't see on the Wii, helping out everyone on the big screen. There's no release date yet, but it's being strongly suggested that it'll be released around the same time as the Wii U. Nintendo is finally upping their online systems, adding Miiverse. This is going to be like the dashboard, but for Nintendo stuff. You'll be able to see who's playing the games you own and what your friends are playing, and over their heads you'll see their high scores or stats or whatever the hell the game has. The Wii and Wii U are currently planned to be a part of this, but eventually the 3DS will be brought in too. The big Wii news was the Pikmin 3 announcement. There's a new type of Pikmin, Rock Pikmin, which will be used to break stuff. There's 4 new characters to play as, allowing for multiplayer. Captain Oleander isn't around for a secret reason, so we'll probably see a cameo of him at some point in the game. But yeah, the Wii U looked pretty useful as an overhead view of your characters and the Pikmin, and with the touchscreen, it seems like a way easier way of organizing the Pikmin. The game's supposed to be released sometime this year, but they didn't give a specific date. Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, got plenty of information, with the main enemy being named Gus the Gremlin. Gus creates a portal through the TV and then sucks Mickey and Oswald back into the cartoon world. The characters have voices now, which means for the first time ever, Oswald the Rabbit has a voice. That's pretty cool, I think. I mean, Oswald's 50 years old and got dropped before cartoons got voices. I mean, I don't know. I think that's amazing, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Anyways, the game is set to be released on November 18th. Paper Mario Sticker Star got announced for 3DS and is going to put a twist to the game, making it more of like a diorama than a pop-up book, playing on the 3D aspect. On the sides of buildings and stuff, you can find stickers which will give you items and even abilities. The vague release date of this holiday has been given to it. Luigi's Mansion is getting a sequel. I don't know why everyone always hates on Luigi. I like Luigi better than Mario, personally. Right? Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon will be a 3DS game and brings back Dr. Egad, and is basically the same idea of ghosts in a mansion, except this time there's multiple mansions. There's also going to be multiplayer available with the game, with a kind of hide and seek, but with the seeker being a ghost and invisible, and the only hint of their location is rumbling of the 3DS. And now, to wrap things up, I'm going to talk about a couple games that did not get showcased during major press events. The LEGO series has 2 games coming out soon. LEGO Lord of the Rings is set to release a game for every movie, or book, however you look at it, and the makers say that you can play as all characters, good or bad, at some point during the game. It's coming out at the end of this year for anything and everything, pretty much. LEGO Batman 2 DC Heroes looks like a lot of fun, especially since you can play as multiple DC characters. Superman, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman are just a few of the characters you can use, all 3 of which can fly, which is awesome. Superman gets all his powers too, including heat vision, ice breath, and of course, super strength. The gameplay trailer that got shown had Superman killing enemies, and I won't lie, it was pretty graphic. Enemies just exploding into Lego pieces. It was awful. Anyways, the story is the same old tale that Arkham Prison needs better security, and Batman and Superman don't get along. Other playable characters include Cyborg, Hawkgirl and Hawkman, The Flash, and Aquaman. The game is set to be released on the 19th of June for the US and the 22nd for Europe. The Cave, a game from the makers of Monkey Island, is a dark comedy focusing on 7 different characters' adventures through a mysterious cave. There's puzzles, dragons, princesses, everything. It'll be out on Xbox, PS3, and PC early next year. Transformers: Fall of Cybertron is shaping up to be the first Transformers game that actually does transforming right. The changing into a car looks seamless, and some of the weapons we're going to get are things like rockets, electric guns, a shotgun, life-leeching guns, all kinds of stuff. You can customize your own Transformer here too, so everyone will have a different one. The game is supposed to be released on August 28th. Lost Planet 3 got shown, and is supposed to be taking place before the events of the first Lost Planet, and focus on the life of a contracted miner named Jim, real original, who's trying to raise money for his family back on Earth. Unfortunately, EDN3 is always having problems, so he gets dragged into some civil stuff pretty easily. Most of the weapons are more modern than other Lost Planet games, and it looks like it'll be more like the first Lost Planet game than the second, which kind of sucks for me because I didn't like the first one at all, but the second one was amazing. Either way, the game is going to be coming out early next year for Xbox, PS3, and PC. Defiance is a game that might create a new genre of games. It's supposed to run alongside a sci-fi show of the same name, and things that the players do in this MMO will affect the events of the show. The story is about aliens who come to colonize Earth, and, well, we aren't too happy about it. You can be on either side, playing as humans or aliens, and the basic goal is to fight against each other. The game is going to be coming out in April of next year. Okay, I know a lot of people already know about this game, but I've been purposely ignoring it because, well, it looked more like eye candy than a video game. But when Lollipop Chainsaw was shown at E3, I was sold. Sparkles and hearts coming out of zombies as you slice their heads off with a grumbling chainsaw. Who knew zombie killing could be so cheerful? And you have your boyfriend's head strapped to your side and you can put him on zombie bodies to help you out. The real kicker is that the game is apparently chock full of dick and vagina jokes, sprinkled with a heavy scoop of the F-bomb. The game comes out on June 12th, so you should definitely pick it up. Star Wars 1313 looks utterly amazing with the graphics. The game follows a bounty hunter and will be primarily a single-player game with lots of choice. I so wish there was more information about this, but sadly there isn't. It looks like it's going to be out for PC though, just based off the graphics, because there's no way in hell current-gen consoles can handle it. I'll definitely be following this one. Metro Last Light got announced. This is a sequel to the much underplayed Metro 2033. Not much information about it, but it looked really awesome and dark and definitely has done the post-apocalyptic thing different than any other game. There's no specific release date, but it'll be out early next year. The Elder Scrolls Online got some new information about the world we'll be playing in. It's set 1,000 years before Skyrim, and even before a king has tried to fight the Empire. There are 3 factions to choose from: the Aldmeri Dominion, the Daggerfall Covenant, and the Everheart Pack. The place Daggerfall will be included in the game as well. You have to pick a class, but you can choose different skills within the class to create your own type of character. There aren't any dragons because it doesn't take place in Skyrim, but they would not confirm or deny vampires and werewolves. The game is supposed to be coming out sometime next year, but there's nothing more solid than that. Hawken is a free-to-play FPS where you man different mechs. There are 3 different classes, light, medium, and heavy, and each has its own benefits. There's skill trees so that any 2 mechs could be very different from each other, even if they're the same size, which is really cool coming from a free-to-play game. The graphics and movements and everything just make you want to ask, why the hell is this free-to-play? But it is, and it's a beautiful thing. The open beta starts on December 12th. And finally, a big surprise, at least to me, is the really promising game, The Amazing Spider-Man. Usually Spider-Man games are tough because the web slinging through New York is glitchy, not very fluid, but the demo they were showing at E3 looked just the opposite of that. Also, there are these collectible little comic book pages, and when you get them all, you get a comic book. Yeah, a full comic book. And if you pre-order, you get to play as Rhino for a side challenge. And you can get a Stan Lee skin for Spider-Man. You have all the powers of Spider-Man, but you're just Stan Lee instead, which is pretty awesome for Stan Lee. Okay, I'm done. I'll see you guys for gaming news in like a week. Check out my etymology video until then, right here, because I'm going to be doing one this week while I'm taking a break from gaming news. Also, check out my blog in the description below because I'm going to be writing during my break as well. So much gets done when I'm not doing gaming news. Well, I'll see you guys when I see you. I hope you guys enjoyed E3, and if you didn't, I hope you at least got something you like. And if you didn't, let me guess, you used to play the Old Republic.